The Hulk is one of the most well-known characters in all of Marvel Comics and has been a focus of comics, cartoons, live-action TV shows, and of course, movies. However, within the confines of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, he's only had a true starring role in one film, and that was with a different actor playing Bruce Banner and Hulk. Mark Ruffalo came in during the first Avengers movie and has been a part of that ever since. So what would happen if there was to be a sequel film for him? Allow us to show you 6 things to expect in The Incredible Hulk 2. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 6. Why hasn't there been an Incredible Hulk 2? That in and of itself is a fascinating question, because if you recall, The Incredible Hulk, starring Edward Norton as Bruce Banner, was the second MCU film released after Iron Man, and it was the film that actually brought in Robert Downey Jr. to showcase that this was a true shared universe. The film may not have been the biggest success ever, but it did have good points, and again helped solidify the MCU as a potential haven of stories that even fans didn't know would be so flush. So why didn't the film get a sequel? Well, 2 reasons. One minor, one major. The minor reason was because of Edward Norton. He had a very loud feud with Marvel because they wouldn't let him make the Hulk movie he felt should be made, and he's still talking about that to this day. And so Marvel decided to wait until Avengers to bring the character back via Mark Ruffalo. The other issue is that, believe it or not, there's a bit of a rights issue with who owns the Hulk movie rights. Because technically, Marvel Studios does own the character and can use him in various ways, but in terms of a solo film, not so much. Because if you recall, in 2003, there was a movie called Hulk by Universal Pictures, and while it's most definitely not the most beloved comic book film ever, it was made by Universal, and thus they still own a stake in the Hulk's live-action uses. A deal had apparently been worked out for The Incredible Hulk, but it got murky after that movie came out, and thus a true sequel hasn't been made. But obviously Bruce Banner is able to be in movies like The Avengers, as well as being a supporting character in movies like Thor Ragnarok, so there were some loopholes that could be exploited. But that's obviously not what a lot of fans want, cause it's honestly a bit unfair to Mark Ruffalo, who's done good in the role to be honest, that he has been able to go and be part of everything with the MCU, and yet not have his own Hulk solo film. This could all change very quickly, but it hasn't as of yet, and you have to wonder just how long he's gonna wait before leaving the role for good. Number 5. She-Hulk. If you're looking for another loophole that will allow him to potentially be in a leading role, you need to look no further than the upcoming She-Hulk TV series coming to Disney Plus soon enough. She-Hulk, aka Jennifer Walters, is the cousin of Bruce Banner and was someone who also has Hulk powers. But how she gets them is key here, because her origin story, in the comics at least, is that she was shot by a mobster, and to save her life, Bruce came in and gave her a blood transfusion, which was very noble, but the problem with that was his blood was gamma irradiated, and that meant that she absorbed that power for herself and became what we know now as the sensational She-Hulk. Granted, it's not confirmed as of yet that this will be the origin story of She-Hulk in the TV series, but it does seem likely, and this would give Mark Ruffalo a chance, for the first season at least, to be a big player in the series, not just because he'll be able to go and save his cousin, but he'll need to be there in order to help her get through the changes she'll be going through as She-Hulk. It's all but guaranteed that Bruce is going to be in the She-Hulk series. The only question is capacity. But let's have a little fun here and ask the question of what if? Mainly, what if he did get his own solo movie again? How would that play out? Well, as we know, Hulk and Bruce aren't exactly how they all started out in the MCU. Number 4. Professor Hulk. Avengers Infinity War and Endgame changed a lot of things for the MCU in big ways and small ways, not the least of which was the 5-year time jump that no one saw coming and changed the dynamics of many characters. For Bruce Banner in Infinity War, getting beaten up by Thanos put fear into the not-so-jolly Green Giant for the first time ever. Banner had to figure out what to do in order to get back in touch with Hulk, and so doing the 5-year jump in Endgame, he basically fused himself with Hulk so that he had the brain of Banner but the body of Hulk. This helped immensely in not just the final battle, but using the Infinity Gauntlet to go and bring back everyone who had died via the snap. But as for what happened to Bruce after Endgame, no one really can say. The MCU hasn't exactly been able to expand itself due to the global pandemic, and so Bruce's story has yet to be discovered, and that gives us a lot of leeway in terms of what we can use and play with. Plus, you have to wonder if Hulk is still injured from the gauntlet, because he was seen with his arm in a sling at Tony Stark's funeral. For this example though, let's say he's healed. What would his challenges be? Who would he have to face? Number 3. Hulk's Gallery. That's where things get tricky in certain ways. Because while the Hulk is legendary in the comics and beyond, his Rogues Gallery, not so much. In fact, in the Incredible Hulk movie, he found himself scraping with basically two of his enemies more or less, with the Abomination and the Leader. Abomination was the main threat that Hulk defeated, and the Leader was created by the end of the movie. But Abomination is now locked up, and was even referenced in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And in an MCU-related tie-in comic, it was shown that Black Widow was sent to deal with the Leader, and killed him. So those two are basically out of the question. Who does that leave in terms of villains? Well, there's Zax, the electric villain, Grey Gargoyle, Absorbing Man, you could pull a time travel thing and bring in Maestro, and a few others could work as well. But if we're being honest here, there's only one clear choice to bring in for another Hulk solo movie, and that is simply number 2, Red Hulk. In truth, we're kinda shocked that this hasn't happened already. But with the MCU in a certain state right now, and the governments of the world already failing to keep themselves in line, see Falcon and the Winter Soldier, then you can totally see them going and doing radical experiments to counter what is going on in the world. For America, and for one General Thunderbolt Ross, you can bet that means them doing whatever it takes to get themselves a Hulk-sized problem solver. Because ever since the Incredible Hulk, Thunderbolt Ross has been working hard to get the Hulk in line, and even when it backfired horribly like with the Abomination or with the Civil War, he still kept going. Plus, we're apparently going to be seeing him in Black Widow's solo movie, so more than likely he's got more things in the oven. His reveal as Red Hulk was a big deal in the comics, and so to bring him into the MCU for the next true Hulk film would be perfect, because it would be a true capper on their rivalry and all that has gone on so far in the MCU. Will they do it though? That's honestly hard to say. Number 1. Digging deeper into Banner. Another key thing that we're shocked hasn't been done yet is just plain diving deeper into the story of Bruce Banner. Because while most know his origin story, the MCU has only lightly touched upon Banner himself and how he feels about everything. We know he tried to kill himself once and failed. We know the "I'm always angry" bit that allows him to shapeshift at will. We know that he was horrified when he stayed as Hulk for 2 years, somehow. And that he was willing to go to great lengths to be Professor Hulk. But there's more to Bruce Banner than just how he connects with Hulk. So if we do get another solo film, that would be a great thing to explore. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at the potential Incredible Hulk 2 movie and how things could go and play out if it was to be done? Would you want to see a Hulk movie, especially with the shifting status of the MCU? Do you think that Marvel Studio could pull it off in a meaningful way? Or would they fall into the same habits as the last one? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.